Hi, I'm Mike Schmidt, and currently I'm president of the Illinois Retired Teachers Association. As such, I'd like to take a few minutes to share some very specific information and perhaps clear up some misconceptions about one of the most serious threats to the pensions of future retired teachers, Tier 2. When I was an active teacher, very often before I would give my students a significant assignment, a big project, or announce an upcoming test, I would preface those things by saying, "If I were you, and I'm glad I'm not." Well, now as a retired teacher, I never really thought I'd have to say that to anyone again, but whenever I'm with someone who started teaching after the beginning of the year 2011, when Tier 2 became mandatory for new hires, I have to hold my tongue from saying I'm glad I'm not them. Why? Well, when Tier 2 teachers retire, here's the difference in their benefits compared to ours. Oh, wait, there isn't one difference. There are a bunch, none of which are beneficial to Tier 2 teachers. Let's start with identifying just when Illinois educators can retire with a full pension. That is, one without any early retirement penalties currently. For a Tier 1 teacher, that would be age 62 with at least 5 years of service, or age 60 with at least 10 years in. Now, we all understand how that goes, with variations that apply to us. However, Tier 2 educators can't retire without full pensions until having reached the age of 67 with at least 10 years of service. 67? I love teaching, but spending 5 years short of a half century in the classroom seems just a bit excessive. And remember, the longer one is employed, the larger one's pension base would be. But, and this is a big but, when we retired, our pension was figured on the average of our 4 best consecutive years. For Tier 2 teachers, that's not even close to being true. Instead, it's the average of the 8 highest years. Now, I wasn't a math teacher, but it is obvious that the Tier 2 average results in a smaller starting pension base than for us Tier 1 retirees, right? To make matters worse, their pension is calculated on a salary capped at a number that violates federal, tax, and Social Security laws. Now, pay attention to this. We all know, hopefully know, with the urging of the IRTA and others, in 1990, the Illinois General Assembly granted retired educators an annual 3% compounded cost of living raise, beginning after reaching age 61. Yeah. Yet, the same cannot be said for the Tier 2 retirees. Instead, their raises will only be half of actual inflation, but is capped at a maximum of 3%. This may sound a bit confusing, but confusing or not, the purchasing power for all Tier 2 retirees will decline over time. Well, I'll tell you. Whenever students would complain that something that happened in the classroom wasn't fair, I would consistently point out that life doesn't have to be fair, and one should get used to it. But I was wrong. Tier 2 is not fair, not even close to being fair. Tier 2 isn't fair to those who fall under it, and Tier 2 isn't fair to the Illinois students, parents, and public school districts in our state. I'll bet that each of us knows a school that doesn't have all the teachers it needs on its faculty. Yeah? Well, Tier 2 isn't the only reason for the dire teacher shortage in the state, but it is a significant factor. And why would that be? Don't you suspect that active educators know about this inequity? I do. Tier 2s work in schools side by side with people classified as Tier 1. It's more than likely that they talk to each other and share the pension differences, don't you think? And many Tier 2s have relatives who have already or will be retiring under Tier 1. Tier 2s know and understand what the state legislature has done to them. And would it be surprising that college students studying to become teachers might want to look for jobs in other states if they've heard of Tier 2? So, what should we do about this injustice? Well, since the Illinois legislature created this mess, only its senators and representatives can and should fix it. Call yours. Suggest they pass a bill to do away with Tier 2 for educators. Tell them to trash the teachers' Tier 2. And make sure they provide benefits to make sure retired educators can retire profitably. Oh yeah. But in all honesty, it would only be right to point out that there is one fact, one advantage the Tier 2s have over us. As I'm sure you know, surviving spouses of us Tier 1s will receive 50% of our pensions every month. However, the surviving spouses of Tier 2s will do better than that by receiving 66 2/3% of the pension. That's nice, but isn't it ironic that the only advantage the politicians in this state have given to Tier 2s is one that the retired teacher will never get to enjoy? So, spread the word to trash the teacher Tier 2 and make the retirement of all Illinois educators fair again. Right? Of course right.